This is Dabu7. A heads up here in regards to a brand new ransomware that some say could be more dangerous than anything else that we've seen thus far. Now, in the midst of all this, we have a technology platform called iConstituent. And this is used by U.S. government offices to connect to different places. Now, apparently, they have been affected by a ransomware attack here for a while, and no one has been saying anything. This affects the government offices of Illinois, Hawaii, Kentucky, and Georgia. It even involves the cities of Los Angeles and East Palo Alto, including the New York State Assembly. So this is widespread in terms of that. But when it comes to this jackware, they say, is different because what it does is it embeds itself, and instead of attacking, say, Windows itself, it will go in and try to attack the actual physical device in the machines that make modern life possible. That's why they say it's much more dangerous. It's only a matter of time where something like this can happen. Now, malware is generally something that is only affecting computers. But they're saying that over the last 20 years, there's been a boom in the development of tiny computers that add connectivity and smart features to every type of machine and device that you can imagine. Now, these tiny computers are known as embedded devices. They now play a critical role in things like critical infrastructure, cars, mass transit, healthcare, office buildings, and even the home. And just like a desktop computer, embedded devices are also vulnerable to malware. The difference here between hacking a computer and hacking an embedded device is that the latter has a direct physical consequence. And one of the reasons why this jackware is so dangerous is that it can shut down the embedded devices. This cripples the larger physical machine, the computer, the pop machine, whatever it may be. So that means the cyber attacks could lead to even worse disruptions than what we've seen thus far in terms of the gas, the meat, and have a funny feeling in due time it's going to be the lights. I keep saying it over and over. Do you have a plan for when the lights go out? Make sure to join me on DLive, where I'm going live breaking stories like this down further. Going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll find links below in the description.
The soap you shower with? It's because I'll let you in on a little.
This is Dabu7. We're getting word now that yesterday's massive disruption of numerous websites was caused by what they're saying is a bug, a software bug, connected back to this company called Fastly. They say that it sneaked into a recent update and that it got triggered by a user. Not so sure that I'm buying that. In the day and age where we're seeing massive hacks and ransomware left and right, and we know the alphabet gangs are connected to all this, I just don't buy that this was just on a whim. Yeah, accidents happen, but the way things are going, I'd keep a close eye on all these type of events. Now, in this instance, when this site went down, it affected the British government's website. Also, services like Amazon, Spotify, all connected to this were all affected. They all had issues. They all have servers that were facing issues traced back to what they're saying is this bug. So, this is what they're saying. Now, we could wake up any day now and see a massive outage again. I don't think that this is going to stop. The threats are coming out big time, and I've discovered some big information that I'm about to drop that shows that we may be in for a big lights out event around the corner, massive cyber attack, and just like the other events where they had Event 201s beforehand, this one does too. It's one that people are going to want to see and pay attention to. It's going to be in an upcoming video, and also join us on DLive, where I cover all this extensively, censorship free, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Links below. This is Dabu7. Some big time information here, connected into what could be the next big event that we all see. We have Cyber Polygon 2021 going into motion. This kicks off in July. This is a staged supply chain attack simulation. This is being held by the WEF, World Economic Forum, the same one that has Klaus Schwab dressing up like he's some commander of some interplanetary force and acting like they're in their own realm with their own laws and own rules. Now, what we know from this crew is that before this whole, what they want to call a pandemic we're living through kicked off, there was an Event 201 that simulated the exact thing right before it all went into motion. And believe it or not, this Cyber Polygon is about to kick off in July, it too matching the same setup as we saw before, and having these staged, simulated events, and then the real thing going into motion. Now, for a decade, I have warned, do you have a plan for a lights out situation? And you know I have. So who does? Who's going to sleep on this and slack on this? Who has the brains to see what they've done already with little events before the big dog pops off, and yet they're doing it again? Can anybody connect the pieces before it's too late? Well, here's some jewels for those that can see it for what it is. And I'm going to expand on this on the live stream where I can break this down further, going down different avenues. Shout outs to all those that give props on where they found this information and not cutting me out on it, right? See you on D Live, links below, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Much love.
Get crazy with color. All new Bunch of Balloons, crazy colored self-sealing water balloons. More color, more fun.
The World Economic Forum WEF will stage another cyber attack exercise as it continues to prep for a potential cyber pandemic that Santa Claus Schwab says will be worse than the current global crisis. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, save the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked in my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Verse 7. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Isaiah 31 verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. Shalom. All praises, glories, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kudash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have told me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom he so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the sea land of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Tazah. This lesson is edifying. Now, as you brothers and few sisters have seen in those last 3 videos in which I played, uploaded by Dabu 7, the elites of Esau Edom are getting ready to make another major move to further tighten their grip around the world in which they currently control. And for the last few months, they've been pushing this narrative of so-called peace and safety and going back to a so-called norm. But according to the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And the day that it was referring to is 2/3 of the nation of Israel that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many. Because 2/3 of the nation of Israel trust in the shadow of Egypt. They trust in the protection of Egypt. They trust in Pharaoh. Okay? But they look not unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the Holy One of Israel. Neither do they seek the Lord Yahweh. Why? Because they are joined hand in hand with Esau, Edom, their father, the devil, the wicked. So they're going to receive their judgment, man. And they're going to know death by pain through the 4 kinds that the Lord is going to appoint over them during the time of Jacob's trouble. And ultimately through those ICBM nuclear missiles, which are the weapons of his indignation, according to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 25. So this, again, is Isaiah 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, save the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, because they would rather take counsel from Al Sharpton. They would rather take counsel from Jesse Jackson, Farrakhan, Joe Biden, the current Pharaoh, the current president, the current king of Babylon the Great. They would rather take counsel from Kamala Harris. They would rather take counsel from the leaders of these Edomites and those of our own people, which is language, which means feeling strength, but not of me. They don't take counsel from Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai, through his prophets that are prophesying the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai via the scriptures. They don't do that, but rather they would rather listen to these false leaders, to these wicked leaders, and not cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. Because they cover with the covering of Satan. They cover with the covering of this world, which will be destroyed. When I say world, I mean this current rulership of Esau, Edom, this current eon, this current uninterrupted age of the Edomites. That they may add sin to sin, which is what? Iniquity. What is sin? 1 John 3 and 4. Sin is transgression of the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And sin to sin is iniquity. So it's basically a stacking of sin. I walked to go down into Egypt, which is America, Babylon the Great, Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And I have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt, because our people, they trust in America, Babylon the Great. They trust in the protection of Egypt. They trust in Joe Biden. They trust in Kamala Harris. They trust in Esau, Edom's government. And therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, because Pharaoh is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, by thermonuclear fire. And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. So your trust in America, Babylon the Great, which is modern day Egypt spiritually, will lead to your confusion. Because when these devils are going to promise you so-called peace and safety, that's when sudden destruction is going to come upon you. So don't be surprised when they cause a massive nationwide power outage through an EMP or a cyber attack. Because you see, these devils are getting ready to transition to their new world order, which is to cause all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Because Esau Edom knows that his time is almost up. That's why they're pushing all these different agendas in rapid succession behind closed doors, and you niggas and niggettes just don't seem to get that, because the Lord has blinded your eyes and your minds that you cannot perceive that and understand that. Okay? But unto the elect of the nation of Israel that do see and understand these things, you know, the Lord's gonna protect us. Lord's Lamb of the elect and keep us from harm's way. Isaiah 65. Okay. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion, which will lead to their destruction. The same ones they trust in so much will ultimately cause them to be led to their destruction. Isaiah 31 verse 1, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, who trust in this man's military, his police forces. But little do you know that the Lord is going to use this very same man to slay 2/3 of you out there of the nation of Israel during the time of Jacob's trouble. little do you know, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One, who is Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. So their judgment is coming, man. In Proverbs 1, verse 28, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. You shall seek me early, and only the elect of the nation of Israel has seek the heavenly Father Yahweh through his son Yahushua early. But after 2/3 they haven't, but they shall not find me. And when they do try to seek the Lord, when the Lord brings destruction upon them during the time of Jacob's trouble, they're not going to be able to find the Lord, because they're not going to be able to find any of the prophets on the highways and hedges, because at that time there's going to be a famine of the word, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord Yahweh. They would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices, because whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. They have sown wickedness, therefore they're going to reap destruction and death. Micah, last scripture, chapter 3, verse 4. Then shall they cry unto the Lord Yahweh, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doing. So they have sown ill, and therefore they're going to reap destruction. They're going to reap death by pain, because they have behaved themselves ill in their doings. They didn't do that which was good in their doings. They didn't take heed to the counsel and to the reproofs of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in their doings, but rather they did that which is contrary to the scriptures, contrary to the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and therefore they will know death by pain, according to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Lord's willing, until the next, I say Shalom.